Greetings, where are you? Oh, hey! You're all the way over here, I say, feigning surprise as if you'll believe me. Okay, so, the saga of all Sean's stuff that broke continues. Well, you can see some of the computer parts here. But before we get into that, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about my video camera. Yes, it's not just the computer, it's also my camera has been on the fritz. And not just my main camera, but also my backup camera, which is down there, and I'll show you in a minute. So, Zaranyzerak's broken cameras. That's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Okie dokie. Yeah, I don't know why it has to be this way. It's like, it can't just be one thing that breaks. No, it's got to be like 2 or 3. And even me and my video making skills are broken right now, because this is actually the second time I've done this video. Why? Well, because throughout the entire first take, where I spent about 40 minutes first talking about the cameras and then going through a bunch of the computer parts and telling you about them, I had this on the screen the whole time. Yeah, that would have looked really professional, wouldn't it? Yeah, let's just get that off the screen there. And I just have to check the sound because the way... Testing. Okay, we're good. The way I have everything set up right now to get around the problems that I've been having with my cameras, the sound can be a little bit tetchy, so I've got the monster headphones over there to monitor periodically as required. Okay, so it all began back in, I guess it was 2002, when I bought this. This is the Sony DCR-TRV720 Digital 8 camcorder with a nice big 3.5-inch screen, which you can flip around and you can have like on the side or whatever. It's a great machine, and it's got like lots of features, lots of built-in digital effects and all kinds of good stuff. Nice manual focus ring, which is something you don't see very often. This lens is probably, yeah, this lens is filthy. Anyway. This one has not worked for a long time. What ended up happening was I used it quite frequently, like for pretty much everything, much like I do with my current cameras. And eventually what ended up happening was it just wasn't able to record properly. Every time I would try to record something, it would either flash up an error message or it would record, but it would be all digitally pixelated and garbled, and the audio would be all choppy and warbly, and essentially it would just be garbage. The nice thing is, though, it's a problem with the actual mechanism part of it. The actual camera part of it and VCR part of it, like in terms of the video signal it can input and output, that's all fine. So I can still use this as basically a pass-through time-based corrector to capture my old videos and stuff like that, like my old VHS stuff. I can input it through here and then output via FireWire to the computer. So this acts as a time-based corrector, so it takes that old VHS footage, locks it down and stabilizes it, so even, you know, footage that's 20 years old gets nice and stable, so I get a nice clean capture. So yeah, but and it actually doesn't even turn on to there's something, I took it apart to try to fix something or just check out some parts. It's long out of warranty, obviously, but I didn't put something back together properly, and now it won't actually turn on into camera mode, but it'll still go into VCR mode. So anyway, the reason I illustrate this is because my current model is the DCR-TRV720, which is exactly the same as this. It is the identical model, same generation, everything. The only difference is it actually has a digital printer put on the back. So you flip out the side and there's actually a little slot there where the little digital printouts will come out. It's just like for tiny little pictures. I mean, this thing only does pictures at 640 by 480 resolution anyway, so that's not exactly, you know, good for making posters. But, you know, for its time, it was pretty cool. But the reason I wanted it was a lot of people listed that digital printer feature as a negative because it added extra weight and bulk to the camera. Now, to me, that's a plus. I like extra weight and bulk because it's easier to hold steady and you can get much smoother panning shots and stuff like that. You may notice, like, when I do handheld stuff, it's pretty steady. Well, that's partly due to the fact that, A, I've been doing videos forever, but also because I got a nice heavy camera. Like, I'm really not into this whole smaller is better thing nowadays, you know, and that trend has been going on for a very long time, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Give me a big, bulky camera, preferably something I can put on my shoulder, you know, that's what I'm talking about. But you just don't see big cameras in the home market anymore. It's all professional stuff, and if you want something big, you've either got to build some kind of casing for a smaller camera to make it into a bigger camera, or you have to buy a bigger camera, which is basically getting into the professional grade stuff, which is ridiculously expensive. But, you know, you get what you pay for. Anyway, getting way off topic. The long and the short of it is, the other day, the 820 started doing the exact same thing that the 720 did many moons ago. And I am all too familiar with that error, and I know that once it starts doing that, there's nothing you can do other than, you know, get it replaced or get it fixed. So I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to do. Might do both. I don't know. But the reason I went with Digital 8 in the first place, as you can probably guess, is because I have stacks and stacks, this is a very small sampling, of Video 8 and High 8 8mm videotapes. So obviously I wanted something that would allow me to watch those old tapes, but also to convert them over to digital. A lot of the Multimedia Chronicles retro footage is on tapes like that. And if I didn't have a machine that could play those, you wouldn't be seeing any of those episodes. Maybe a handful of the ones from VHS footage, but that's it. So it was very important that I have a camera that could play those back. Now the 820, much like the 720, also has a built-in time-based corrector, which works great for pass-through VHS footage, but it also works great with the 8mm and High 8 stuff, because that way I don't have to do any kind of pass-through. I just play it back directly in the camcorder with the time-based correction on and get like an absolutely perfect, rock-solid, stable picture that I can then capture to the computer for editing or archiving. And it's great. So there's no way I would want to do some kind of pass-through thing for that when I can just do it directly. I mean, it's like taking out the middleman, you know. And I gotta be honest with you, a lot of the digital captures that I got of the old analog videos look better than they did on the original cameras they were shot on, because it has that additional stabilization that just makes it a much cleaner picture. So how the heck am I recording this video, you're probably wondering? If the 820 isn't capable of recording anything without it garbling, how am I doing this? Normally I could output the signal to the computer and capture directly to the computer, although that's another thing that's been tetchy on the 820 for a while. Because I've been using it for all my filming, playback, capturing, everything, the FireWire port has got a lot of use over the past few years, and as a result it's become a little bit tetchy. And sometimes I'll be in the middle of capturing something and it'll just lose the signal, like it'll just completely lose its connection to the computer. In fact, when I was filming my recent review of the first season of the new V series on Blu-ray, that's exactly what I did, because that's when it started to screw up. So I was capturing the review directly to the computer, and then right in the middle of it, it lost the signal. I thought I'd lost all the footage, but it turned out that Sony Vegas, thank God, is a smart program. So before killing the capture, it made sure to save everything that had been recorded up to that point, so the file wouldn't be corrupted, and then it threw up the error message. So yes, thank you, Sony, for making Vegas smart. I definitely appreciate that, because it would have been a pain in the ass. So I still have to redo my review of How the West Was Won. That's the one I was actually filming on the camera, and the one that I discovered the problem with the camera when I was capturing it. I was like, yeah, that's great. But fortunately, at least with the V one, I didn't have to redo that much. So yeah, anyway, even if the FireWire connection was working perfectly today, there's obviously no way I can be capturing because, well, I don't have a functioning computer right now. In fact, my computer is in pieces. And even if it was all assembled, it wouldn't be working anyway because the CPU was fried, as you know. So how the heck am I recording this? Well, very simple answer. I'm just going to have to monitor the audio as I do this because I'll be jiggling the cable a little bit. But around the same time I bought the 820, I also bought the Sony DCR-TRV720. Now this is from the previous wave of camcorders. Actually, it might be one or two waves before, but you'll notice it's very similar in design, like, you know, except it's black on the side there. So if we look at the 720, 510, you know, they're very similar. They both have nice big screens, and yeah, there we go. So you can see I'm actually recording on this. So in this case, what I'm doing is I'm actually outputting the signal. I just have the 820 in camera mode with no tape in it, so it stays on. And then I'm outputting directly to the 520, which is then recording. Better be recording. Yes, it's recording. Okay, so the reason I don't use the 510 more often is because it does not actually have built-in time-based correction. Now, for something like this, where it's a pure digital signal to begin with, it has no problem. But if I was capturing stuff from the old tapes on there, it would still look pretty good because those are all first-generation tapes, but it wouldn't look as clean as it does coming off the 720 with the time-based correction turned on. So it's really a crucial feature for when I'm capturing the old footage, and something that I really don't want to be doing without. So even though technically I am losing a bit of quality because I'm starting off with digital, going through analog cables, and then recording digital on the other camera, you know, it's such a clean signal to begin with that you're really not going to notice any difference. And besides, by the time YouTube gets finished processing the hell out of my file, I'm sure you really won't notice a difference. Now here's the other thing. It's not just this camera that's giving me problems. The 510 has always been a little bit tetchy, so for the most part I've just used it as a digital 8 VCR. For example, when I'd be doing my video game videos, I would record all the video game footage on the 510 in VCR mode, hooked up directly to the PS3. So it would get a direct feed of the video game footage and record that there. And it can record in 16:9 anamorphic widescreen too, so even though it's not high def, it's really nice standard def. It's like as good as standard def can get. And then I would record the reaction cam with the 820 and then put them all together in the editing. So that's basically in a nutshell how I would do my video game videos with two cameras. Really no magic to it other than that, just two cameras and a lot of tweaking in the editing. But here's the problem, is when the 820 basically crapped out on me, I thought, well, okay, good thing I bought that backup years and years ago. Fired up the 510, put it in camera mode, clicked record, ready to continue, and as soon as I click record, it goes back to standby mode. I'm like, what the hell? Click it again, back to standby mode. Click it again, back to standby mode. It just refuses to record in camera mode. But in VCR mode, no problem. I don't know why. It just defies explanation to me. The other nice thing is, because I haven't used the 510 that much other than as a makeshift digital 8 VCR, the FireWire connection on it is really rock solid stable. So I've actually been using that to capture quite a bit lately. Specifically only things from digital 8 sources though, because then I don't really need the time-based correction so much because it's already a nice clean stable signal. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass not to have just one fully functioning camera. Now this kind of setup will work temporarily. It'll work fine. And once I get the functioning computer again, I'll just do direct captures to the computer. I'll basically, one thing I'm looking into getting is an extra long FireWire cable. Tiger Direct actually sells 15-foot long ones, which would be perfect, because then I can film stuff in the living room, I can film stuff over there, and I don't have to be stretching the little 3-foot cable as far as it'll go. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the long and the short of my camera woes. Probably very long. But whatever, it's not often I get to talk sort of tech talk with you guys. I'm usually talking about DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff. To be honest, I find it kind of a relief, because I really don't have to do any research about this. I'm just telling you about my personal experiences. So to sum up, originally I bought the DCR-TRV720 digital 8 camcorder. It crapped out on me after a couple years of extremely heavy usage. Then I was without a camcorder for a while, and a couple years later I bought the DCR-TRV720. thinking it would be pretty much the same thing, but then I discovered it didn't have some of the features. So I thought, hey, I'll keep the 510 as my backup, and I'll get something else. I was actually looking to get a 720 again, but then I found out the 820 is exactly the same with a little more bulk. Now, because people see the bulk as a negative, but I see it as a positive, I was able to get a discount on it, and it came with a memory stick to put pictures on. So how cool is that? So all told, I think I got it for about 200 bucks. These ones actually retailed for about $1,200 when they originally came out. Obviously, they're not worth that much now because they're outdated technology, but you know, at the time, that was a pretty damn good deal. So I was very happy to get that. Anyway, that's it from me to you for now. So next time we'll start talking about some of the computer parts, and I'll give you some details about those. I don't know, just I want to have sort of a chronicle of the breakdown and replacement of my equipment. So yeah, so we'll basically go through all the old parts and some really old parts that I actually dug out of storage. I forgot I had them. And then when the new computer parts arrive, which hopefully will be sometime this week, I'll do like the whole assembly of the whole thing on video for you. So for those of you who are curious about how exactly computers go together, I will show you. It's actually really simple once you have some idea of what you're doing. And unlike when I cleaned the heatsink on the other one, which basically caused it to blow up, I'm going to be very careful and double check everything I do before I hit the power button. Okay? Alright, well that's it for me to you for now, so until next time, thanks for watching, and sayonara. Shit, I didn't have that on the whole time, did I? Yeah, you know what? That's gonna be annoying as fuck, especially for like 4 videos. So let's redo. Fuck, just redo everything? Ow! Yeah. Tasty. I like extra weight and bulk. Let me move back a bit so you can... There we go, not being cut off. Of 8mm and Super 8. As I said, with the same thing as with the crystal clear... Now normally, if the computer was functional, I could just capture directly to the... So how am I recording this, you're probably wondering. If that's not able... So how the heck am I recording this video, you're probably wondering. Holy fuck. Because I've been using it for all my filming, In fact, when I was filming the review... The Firewire... Anyway,